free thinkers, it's funny how in 2024 people think that we don't have the right to speak our mind when it comes to this election. It's funny how there's a process to picking a president is being avoided right now because the Democrats feel that this is the person that they want in office. And I don't think that's fair. There's a process to how we go through our elections, and now we're avoiding it because that's who you want and that's who you think is the right person to take over. Here go the issue that we're having as Americans. And don't let them keep pushing that color stuff on us. We have 10 million people that just moved into this country when we have people coming into this country the correct way. We just allowed 10 million people to enter into this country that now our infrastructure and what we have supposed to be providing for Americans, they're getting the benefits from. In some of these states, New York, California, Washington D.C., L.A., these locations are being inhabited, and Texas is pushing them out, and they're pushing them into Arizona, and some of these states that no longer allow them. Texas didn't. But here go my issue. For Americans, everyday Americans that are struggling right now, and they are struggling. We are struggling as everyday Americans. To know that you could come in out of the country with no paperwork. That's what the former president said. No paperwork. We don't know who you send in here. And like he said, some of them are the worst of the worst that they send in here. Are some of them coming here for a better life? Absolutely. But as we could see in New York City, New York State, California, and some of these states that have accepted the migrants, they're turning into hellholes right now. Hellholes. The American citizens um, do not have access to a home. They do not have access to certain things anymore because it's been turned over to the migrants. Some of these hotels where a couple years ago, you couldn't even get a room in or no vacated so we could put migrants in. They're getting giving them credit cards, health care, and a place to live. How come the people that live here, Americans, you did not have that in place for them? We said we didn't have any more money. But now, for sudden, we found money to fund these people's lifestyle. They're breaking into our stores, looting. We have Walgreens, CVS. All these pharmacies have to have a padlock on basic items where you could go down the aisle and pick up. We no longer could do that as Americans. You don't think there's something wrong with this? And the person who's supposed to be in control of the border, now they're saying she wasn't in control of the border. The Republicans are making it up. There are videos, and this is why people don't understand about videos. There are videos of her saying that she's in control, she's responsible for the border. But you have allowed 10 million people to come into this country. She herself has said that one of the biggest issue in America is that we have to stop the rate of what is the word she used? Let me get it correctly. She said that we are going to have to stop the growth of Americans. She said something to that effect. She said, right? Overpopulation. She said we're going to stop the overpopulation of Americans. Americans, she said, which mean there are things that they're putting in while we're sleeping, and they're playing the the Monte card where they're telling you pay attention to this, not to this. They've created a pill called a Plan B where hopefully these young women understand what they're trying to do with them. They're trying to make them to not make them fertile anymore. So that years from now they're going to let them know that, oh, this is what happened to your body, and they're going to tell you, well, that's what you wanted. You wanted the freedom to control your own body. That's what they're going to tell you. You asked for this. There's reason why laws are put in place so that we know how humans are. So that's why these laws are put in place. They tell you that the President Trump is coming for your rights. Is he? These people have taken away our rights. They're not telling us who we should vote for. After months of them telling us that this president in office was fine, his doctor said he was fine. So can't we even trust his doctor? That his doctor said he was fine. He was fine. He had a cold. Now that the American people got a chance to see who he really is and what he's about, now you decide to circumvent the election process, and now you put who you think is the best candidate. Not the people. Not we the people. There's something wrong with this picture. These are the same people who decide to go after the president, okay, and say that he did this to a woman. And the woman couldn't remember if he did it. But they still charged him. They went after him for bank fraud, even though the documents they signed, the bank approved it. They didn't go after the banks, though. They never went after the banks. Under President Trump, a lot of communities flourish, including the black community. Mortgage rates were lowered. Interest rates were lowered. Food was on shelves and you could pay for them. But why are they not running on his record? Why are they running on things like that 2% of the country is worrying about? Why are they making this about a women issue? Aren't there men in this country? Are you telling me abortion is more important than anything else in this country right now? What they're trying to do, the Democrats, is silence us. So now they're going to come up with these little words to tell you this is why the president shouldn't be in office and why this other person is qualified. How can you be qualified if you never drove a car, to drive a car? How could you be qualified to fly a plane when you never sit in the cockpit? How could you be qualified when you never stand in front of another country's leader and tell them to go sit down? Nobody wants the joker sitting across from them. We don't want something happening in another country and